So the question was, when I'm diving, my BC, happens to be an axiom, my BC, I'm bumping my head on the first stage. So the simple answer to this question is if your head is bumping on the first stage, and I've got simply a first stage mounted on this empty 63, I didn't need the second stages and the gauges or anything to show this. If your head, when you are in a diving position, looking forward at a pretty much a 45-degree angle, and you raise your head up a little bit, if you're bumping the back of your head onto this, it means that the tank is too high in the BC. So how do we adjust that? You have a valve strap. Some people think this is just a handle. It's not just a handle, it's a valve strap. It goes around the valve. There is, on the axiom, there's a nice little quick release right here that you can open it up. I use this constantly on mine, and this has a lot of adjustment. You can see how much adjustment we have in here. It's easy to adjust this. The best thing to do if you've got one of these is take this little rubber cover, slide it out, because you have to remember when you get ready to mount this on here, you're not necessarily jamming it around this valve. You want to be able to adjust the tank and the BC so that it fits your body and you don't bump your head. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, the Axiom has this nifty quick release tank strap. Some of you call this a cam strap. So when we look at this, and this closes, the nice thing about this, it has a 2-finger adjustment in it, so it won't snap closed on your finger. Now, I'm gonna adjust this. This one's brand new off the floor. I'm gonna adjust this to fit this tank, so give me a second. And I want you to remember, when you get ready to do any kind of strap adjustment, make sure there's not a bunch of air in the BC, because it'll make the BC blow up away from the tank strap and loosen it. When you deflate the BC to descend, it'll loosen the tank strap, and all of a sudden the tank's sliding out of the BC. So try not to do that. So again, this is a quick release. Let me turn this around. So this is a quick release. You pull it across, and when you close it, you see this stops right here, so your finger doesn't get caught in here, and then you would close it the rest of the way. Now, that's securing it on there. We don't have the valve strap up here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this valve strap around so you can see what I'm talking about. And remember, the Axiom utilizes the valve strap as an integral part of the structure that takes the tank, because the BC doesn't have this plastic back plate in there. It uses the tank as part of the structure. So I've got really no air in this BC. I've got the strap around here, and when I hold this material up, I want you to see, and I'll turn it around this way so you can see, I'm holding it up like this, and one of the things you're going to notice is when I hold it up, if I put my hand across the top of the valve and the material, not the handle inside the BC, I'm going to hold the material up like this, and that gives me a gauge as to where I want the material. And you can see I'm a little bit low. So if you were wearing this unit right now and you were bumping your head, then you would want to loosen the tank strap move the BC up so that it's just basically level. Now I'm going to tighten my tank strap, and so when I hold this up, you see I've got a little bit of extra looseness in the valve strap, so I'm just going to reach right back here. There's an adjustment on here, right here. I'll try to get a shot of it. An adjustment, and I can adjust this, snug this up. You saw a second ago it was really tight. So I'm going to get some adjustment here. And now you can see when I hold up my material, the material, here's the top of the material, here's the top of the valve, basically it's level. And if you're still bumping your head, then make sure you loosen the valve strap a little bit. Don't disconnect it, just loosen it. Loosen the tank strap, move it up some more, tighten your tank strap, and now you can see here's the material and here's the valve. So there's about, maybe a half an inch or something like that, that I've adjusted it. So now when I lean my head back, when I'm in the diving position and I lean my head back to maybe clear my mask or whatever, I don't have to stop and stand up like a people. Because remember, underwater, we're fish. So you should be able to do all your scuba skills in a neutral buoyancy, what Bob calls a fish position, all right? So this is the way you adjust it. And hopefully this answered your question, young lady. And I'm sorry you asked some experienced divers and they didn't know what they were talking about or couldn't answer your question. I just answered it for you. Now, if you've got a regular BC, and what I mean by regular BC is a tank strap with a cam on it, I'm going to show you folks how to adjust that many instructors don't bother showing their students. So what I did is I went over, I grabbed this. This is a Tusa Tina, and this is a basic BC. A Tina is a nice BC. It's got trim pockets. It's got a right shoulder, left shoulder dump, all kind of real nice things as far as a basic BC goes. It does not have the quick disconnect like we saw over there on that Axiom. It's got a standard valve strap, which is fine and dandy. And we've got a standard cam, plastic cam. And sometimes people say, well, Bob, why is it called a cam? If you look at a cam that makes any machine run that needs a cam, like a car engine, then it utilizes a cam. And so if you look, there's a curve here with a little flat spot. I think you guys can see that flat spot right there. And then there's a curve, an outer curve and a round, and then an inner curve. So it is shaped like a cam. So that's where the term cam comes from. Now, it's got a standard adjustment here with the Velcro. I'm gonna loosen it. Now, to get it on this tank, I'm gonna have to loosen it in the cam, pull it back through. If you haven't ever really threaded a tank strap before, then my suggestion is do it a couple of times before you go out diving so you understand how to do it. And most of these, like I said, you're gonna have Velcro here on the outside of the tank strap. Some of them have this little friction pad on here. And then you've got your cam and it's threaded through. If you ever forget, some of these actually have a drawing on the side, but learn how to thread a cam. It's not that big a deal. So now I've got it loose and I'm gonna fit it on the tank. Now I've turned it around, so I'm right-handed. I like to take the valve strap and put it underneath my left thumb to keep it out of the way of what's going on here. I've loosened my tank strap and I'm gonna come up and over and start working it down. Now, the cam, you can see, I believe you can see, the cam is facing forward. If it faces back, it's going to be too tight when you're trying to put it on the tank. So I'm going to, again, control the BC with my left hand. I'm going to work this stuff with my right hand. And I'm going to begin sliding the tank strap down the tank. I'm going to make sure my BC is parallel with the valve opening. And as I come down, I'm going to stop. Now remember, my regulator is not going to be on here at this point. I'm just going to put my valve strap over my valve like what you see. And as I work it down, what I'm looking for is I'm looking, because we have different, size tanks with the different height and things like that. So you can see again, what I've got is I'm adjusting my BC according to the top of my valve. And once I've got it adjusted, now I can tighten my tank strap. So again, I've got it threaded, and the way I can put pressure on it is by pulling it back. And when I pull it back, what you're gonna see is this is not tight on this tank. So if I pull this over, you're gonna see how easy this is with my fingers. See that? So when I do that, and if I haven't wet the tank strap and I go in the water, this is gonna become loose. So what I wanna do is get more tension on my tank strap. But basically, my tank and my valve and my BC material are about in the right place. So what I'm gonna do, there's enough tension on here to hold it here. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my valve strap. And you can see I've adjusted it. It's a little bit snug, which is what I'm after, okay? And then I would come down here, and because this is holding my position on the tank, I can loosen this. And what I want to do is I'm just going to unthread. You can see it in this camera here. I'm going to unthread it, and you can see how this is moving on the tank. Leave the cam forward, and I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to hold it. I call this a tail. I'm going to take this tail, give it a little jerk, and what that just did, it tightened the strap up on the tank. And what I need to do is I'm going to stand this cam upright. I'm not going to close it. I'm just going to stand it up. And that's what these two little flat places are for on the cam. Most people don't realize and know why those are on there. So I'm just going to hold this in place. I'm going to stand my cam up. I've already got tension on there. I'm going to stand it up. And you see, it basically will stay there by itself. And my strap's on there. I've got it nice and tight. But don't forget to take the tail, run it back through your cam. And what you're going to hear, I'm going to get up close with my microphone. And what you're going to hear, listen. Hear that pop? That pop means that the strap is good and tight. And so it's good and tight on the tank. So now you could pick this up, you could move the tank and everything, and the strap's not going to move any place. And of course, do this, wet your BC before you do this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see I got this little sticking out here on this. Don't leave this out there, because this Velcro is going to get caught on somebody's wetsuit and it could possibly pop the tank strap open. So I'm going to take this. There's Velcro all the way around here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to seal it down completely, and now it doesn't stick out. So that is adjusting your BC so you don't bump your head on both the quick detach and the standard style valve strap and tank strap. So I hope that helped you. Hope maybe some other folks watch this and maybe that helped you. Again, I'm Bob Collins for Diver Supply. Appreciate you watching, and as always, be safe out there. Enjoy your dives.